Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon GO deep dive video. Today we're going to be looking at the bug and water type Pokemon Golisopod, and I have to say this is going to be very disappointing for a lot of people who are a fan of this particular Pokemon. Anyway, let's roll the intro and get right into it. Okay, let's talk about Golisopod. So, this is a bug and water type Pokemon that has a lot of really great stats, but unfortunately it suffers from a really poor moveset. As I mentioned before, this Pokemon has the bug and water typing, which is one of the best type combinations that you could have for PvP. And the reason for that is of course because these typings complement each other really well. They give Golisopod a good number of resistances, and your opponents are going to have a really difficult time finding a Pokemon that's going to be strong against Golisopod. Now, I mentioned earlier that Golisopod has really great base stats, and that is mostly true. It has an attack stat of 218, it has a defense stat of 226, and an HP stat of 181, and it has a max CP of 3575, making it pretty decent for the Master League and Ultra League, but in general, you would want this for the Great League. Now, considering that there's already a really good Pokemon for the Great League that has the bug and water typing, and of course I'm talking about Araquanid. And I have to say that Araquanid is going to be superior to Golisopod in every way. In terms of stats, Araquanid has just a little bit less stats than Golisopod, and that is actually a really good thing for the Great League because it will allow you to level up Araquanid just a little bit more before you hit that 1500 CP cap. Having higher stats, especially when it comes to the attack stat, is going to be better for raid battles and the Ultra League and Master League, but when it comes to the Great League, it's going to be more about how many times you could level it up before it hits 1500. And unfortunately for Golisopod, its stats are pretty high to begin with, which means you will not level it up as much as you would in Araquanid. Now, another way that Araquanid is superior to Golisopod is of course its moves. Golisopod can have the fast moves Fury Cutter, Metal Claw, and Waterfall, and in terms of the charge attacks, it can come with X-Scissor, Aerial Ace, and Aqua Jet, and I have to say that with this move pool, there is a lot left to be desired. Compare this with Araquanid, which can come with Bubble Beam. It's going to lack a lot of utility and a lot of damage that you would need in order to dominate the Great League. Now, it's not all lost for Golisopod because it does have a lot of potential, it just needs a much better charge attack. There is a high possibility that in the future they will give it a much better move pool, but that's really going to depend on how they want to balance out the Great League and Ultra League, because I really do think that if Golisopod were to get a much better charge attack, then it could actually be pretty good. But of course, as it stands right now, Golisopod is not necessarily a great Pokemon to use for the Go Battle League. So that leaves us with raid battles. How does this Pokemon fare up? Well, if you're talking about bug type raid attackers, there's going to be some obvious better ones that you could use, like for example Genesect is going to deal a lot more damage, and because Golisopod lacks a Mega Evolution, using a Pokemon like Mega Beedrill is going to be a lot more useful. So unfortunately, even with raid battles, Golisopod is a huge disappointment. Now, what could Niantic do to improve this Pokemon? Well, first and foremost, it does need a much better moveset. It has a lot of potential to be a very strong Pokemon for the Ultra League. I mean, I actually think this is where it could stand out the most. Even with the current moveset, you could actually throw off a lot of opponents, considering that there's a lot of different Pokemon within this league that are going to be hard countered by Golisopod's typing. But unfortunately, the move pool is not going to be strong enough, or it's going to lack the utility that will allow you to win a lot of different matchups. I don't think it necessarily needs a utility move like Bubble Beam, but it would be really nice if they gave it a really powerful hard-hitting move like Hydro Pump or Surf. I think that would go a long way. That way, you could use this Pokemon to bait out shields or to be a very powerful counter pick. I think the potential is definitely there, but they just need to give this Pokemon some sort of identity because as of right now, it really doesn't have that. I really think this Pokemon could be very powerful if they were to give it some more offensive based moves, and I would like to see some more type coverage as well. Considering that Golisopod has much higher attack than Araquanid, I think this could be a very powerful offensive based Pokemon that you could utilize in a lot of different matchups. One of the strongest Pokemon right now in the Great League and Ultra League is of course Walrein, and a Pokemon like this would be a very hard counter to that Pokemon, but unfortunately because of the lack of really good moves, you unfortunately will not be able to use this Pokemon as an answer to Walrein, unless of course you're in the Master League, but even then it's going to be a coin flip, and you really do not want to have that. Now, one final thing regarding this Pokemon that I really do think needs to be addressed is, of course, the candy cost to evolve into it. In order to get Golisopod, you need 400 Wimpod candy, and then you could evolve into this Pokemon. But I really do think the cost is not necessarily reflective of how useful this Pokemon is. Like, for example, if we were to compare it to Gyarados, which does require 400 Magikarp candy in order to get, I really do think that it reflects just how useful Gyarados is in a lot of different situations. Like, you could use it in the Master League and Ultra League, but you could also use it for raid battles as well. But considering that Golisopod requires almost the same amount of effort in order to get, but you do not get a Pokemon that has a lot of utility, that is kind of a bummer. And I really do hope Niantic does consider that this Pokemon has a lot of potential, it just needs much better moves. So yeah, in conclusion, this Pokemon is a huge disappointment. Even though a lot of players are farming up candies in order to get it, I really do think it's not necessarily anything special compared to other Pokemon with the same candy cost to evolve. And I do think that this Pokemon has a lot of potential in the future, it's just going to be up to Niantic to give it better moves. I mentioned Hydro Pump and Surf, I really do think that's going to make this Pokemon exponentially better, but as of right now, it's not necessarily looking good for any of the Go Battle League leagues, but also with raid battles as well. So yeah, anyway, that's going to be my deep dive on Golisopod. Now let me know your thoughts regarding this Pokemon down below. Do you have yourself a really good Golisopod? Are you planning to use it in the Go Battle League even though it's not viable? Let me know down below and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For all of my patrons, they get the benefit of being on my friends list in game, so if you want to interact with me in any way in Pokemon Go, like with remote raids, then do consider joining me on Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I will catch you all later.